So President Ramaphosa just threw petrol on the flame that's burning between the ANC and the communists. In this video, I'm going to show you what's going on there, and if you stay with me all the way till my biblical reaction, you'll have a video that you want to share with every single South African Christian that you know. Because I need your comment at the bottom. I'm going to ask 3 questions and I want to hear your thoughts. Because at the end of the day, South Africa will prosper. You ready? Okay, press like, let's go. So President Ramaphosa recently announced this.
Well, the 4th of November 2026 is the date that we have set for the local government elections. And of course, as with any election, everybody expects that they will be returning to continue with the work that they have been doing to serve our people.
But now, as you know, that there is an alliance with the South African Communist Party and the ANC. The South African Communist Party says on the 4th of November, they will have themselves on the ballot separate from the ANC, because usually the South African Communist Party just supported the ANC to run and then influence the ANC through the Tripartite Alliance. But then the ANC says, no ways, you cannot serve ANC and SACP.
To all ANC members, including those who are in the SACP, to respond in 10 days if ever they will campaign for the ANC or the SACP. Now, if you don't respond to that letter but you continue to campaign for the SACP, there will be consequences. Because the ANC constitution is very clear that dual membership is acceptable. But if now the Communist Party is a party on its own, is campaigning, and therefore you are a SACP member and you campaign for the SACP, you'll have to choose the SACP. And then you have to respond to us so that our task is easier. But we are not going to chase communists out of the ANC, because the alliance is not broken. The SACP have simply taken a decision to stand as a party in the coming local government election. And that is why we are saying to our members, we must not understand that as inimical, as something compared to other opponents. They have taken a decision, but they are not out of the alliance. Of course, we are concerned about the vitriolic attacks on the ANC by the Communist Party in terms of this contestation. Communist Party contests power for socialism, and it must express that in its campaign, but it cannot isolate the ANC as a target. And the same as the ANC cannot isolate and attack the Communist Party.
Okay, so Mbalula says it is not inimical. English, Baba. So you can have dual membership, you can be a communist and an ANC member, but you can't campaign for both, and you must come out now and tell us who will you be campaigning for. Well, the communists didn't like this, so they came out a week ago and there was some vitriol.
South African Communist Party has never had a problem with the ANC contesting elections in its own right. The SACP has never regarded the ANC as an enemy, even for contesting election in its own right. The moment you expect one side to do what you demonstratively are not prepared to do yourself, or to sustain forever what you have never done in a single moment of history, you must recognize that you are being unfair, with far-reaching implications. In mathematics, when you resolve formulas, they say do what you do on the left, also on the right. The ANC demands declaration from members of the SACP and threaten action against those it believes are acting for the party's campaign, while insisting there should be no witch hunts. It is regrettably a serious anti-communist political move with far-reaching implications, which also changes the character of the ANC as we know it. The party rejects this approach with the contempt that it deserves. We reject it not because we reject discipline. On the contrary, we reject it because no genuine alliance can be sustained on the basis of cohesion by one partner exercising its independence, but coercing another against exercising its independence. No disciplined comrade must act individually under pressure or improvisation. No comrade must submit to intimidation and ultimatums and make unilateral declarations or tender resignations or take strategic decisions affecting SACP membership and responsibilities without consulting with the party. The SACP will not accede to ultimatums from another organization. Simple as that. That must be understood. Even those who are dreaming, I don't know, when people dream, they think they can give instructions to the SACP. We don't take instruction from capital nor from its stooges.
So he calls Fikile Mbalula a stooge of capital. But then he's taking his Secretary General position in the ANC seriously, and he's threatened everybody to say, you choose who you vote for. And here are the 3 questions I want to ask. I want to show you a video just now about Marxism. So the ANC is a rural rat. It bites your heel and then blows. So they are slow Marxists. The SACP are fast Marxists. They say, let's go fast. But otherwise, they believe the same thing. Here are the 3 questions that I want to ask. In the last 10 years, in a country that's 80-something% Christian, whether we're talking about serious Christians who go to church 5 times a day, or we're talking about just someone who identifies as a Christian, how did the ANC keep winning so much even after all the stealing? Number 2, how did the ANC win so much with communists in the ANC? So I want to find out this. You can tell me about you or someone you know, a Christian you know. Is it because they don't know what I'm about to play next? Or is it because they just made a choice that they're fine with it? Or is it because they're not truly loyal to their Christianity, however deep it is? You tell me at the bottom after this.
Marx thought that religion is a form of false consciousness that keeps people from recognizing their true interests and oppresses them by making them accept their place in society. Communist thinking also promoted a strong sense of atheism and materialism, which is in direct opposition to spiritual and supernatural beliefs of many religions. Under communism, it's the state that becomes the ultimate authority and source of morality. Marx thought that religion emphasizes the role of the individual in the alleviation of suffering, which was contrary to the goals of communism. Once again, Marx thought that once the state owned the means of production, like factories and machines, and distributed the profits equally, suffering would then be alleviated. Marx even thought that the state, or the government, must go as far as the abolition of religion and the destruction of religion, for it clashed with the ideals of communism. The Soviet Union was committed to the complete annihilation of religious institutions and ideas. Vladimir Lenin, the revolutionary, demanded that communist propaganda must be deployed to stop all forms of religion and idealistic thinking. Militant atheism became central to the ideology of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, and the atheists were considered more virtuous individuals. Over the years of the Soviet Union, the Soviets confiscated church property, ridiculed religion, harassed believers, and advocated for atheism in schools. Some Orthodox Christian priests and believers were tortured, executed, and sent to prison camps. Many Orthodox were subjected to psychological punishment and mind control experimentation to force them to surrender their religious beliefs. Between the years 1927 and 1940, the number of Orthodox churches in Russia fell from 30,000 to less than 500. In 1928, anti-religious education was introduced in grade 1. To remove the church's intellectuals, the Soviets propagated that only backward people believed in God. The government also conducted a massive purge of Christian intellectuals, most of whom died in camps or in prison. Under the rule of Stalin, the Soviets cracked down on Islam and the Muslims, with many mosques being turned into warehouses. In 1919, the Soviets abolished Jewish community councils, which were designed for synagogue meetings. The hostile policies of the Soviet Union is a big reason why Orthodox Christianity is barely practiced in Russia today, given that the Soviet Union only collapsed in 1991, which really wasn't that long ago. Even in China today, the Chinese Communist Party is wary of religion, for there is a concern that religion can function as an alternative to communism and undermine the Chinese people's loyalty to the government. Communism sees religion as contrary to its goals because it is a tool of oppression. For this reason, communist ideology has encouraged the promotion of atheism and materialism, leading to the suppression and persecution of religious practices and institutions in many communist countries. In the 21st century, religious belief has dropped off significantly in countries like China and Russia, where these policies were enforced. In short, religion obstructs the goals of communism, for it allows individuals to accept their suffering, whereas communism asserts that the way to alleviate suffering is for the state to own the means of production and solve inequality through that.
So let me hear your thoughts below. How do many Christians in South Africa, a country that's mainly Christian, manage to have, obviously, many Christians in the Communist Party, the ANC, and the EFF actually? Is it because they think the ANC, EFF, Communist Party are kind of different kind of communists, even though they follow the writings of Marx, who hates religion because he views it as a hindrance to the struggle? Because religion tells you that you are created in God's image and therefore you start seeing people as individuals, while Marxists see people through money. That's why they see them as the poor, the capitalists, right? There are no individuals in there. They are just the poor, the workers, the capitalists. And of course, I'm a Christian, so the Bible tells me I'm an individual made in the image of God, with a calling of God for me, with a choice to believe or to reject the gospel that affects me, and that I will stand in front of the judgment seat alone and not as a class or a group. Now, Marxism hates all of this because it goes across, because now when you call me and say, all of us as blacks, let's break things, I go, whoa, let it make sense to me first. Let me hear what's going on. No, just go with the group. And then because I'm used to the fact that I'll stand in front of the judgment seat by myself, I get used to, even in real life, thinking I'm as judged by myself. Now, Marxism hates that because then you're not always running with the group. That's why Marxism hates religion. So, my question down there, is it because people don't know that you can't be a Marxist and religious? Whatever religion it is, you can't be a Marxist and a Christian. Really? Communist Russia knew this. Marxist Russia knew this. Marxist China knew this. The only people who seem not to know are South Africans. So is it because they don't know, or they think it's different, or it's the propaganda based on our history? Let me know below and let me hear from you. My biblical reaction. No one can serve two masters, for either he'll hate the one and love the other, or he'll be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. Why do I always use this verse and say you cannot serve God and Karl Marx? Is because, and I'll explain in another video, most people instinctively, when they think of money, think of the capitalists. And they are greedy capitalists, absolutely. And they are serving capitalists, absolutely. And now, because it's the capitalists who tend to make more money, people assume it's them who love money more. Here's the thing about Marxism. Marxism does not recognize individuals. It sees all individuals through the eyes of money. That's why they speak of class struggle. My parents brought me up never to class people. Marxists class people by money. So you either have capitalists, you have too much money, you are the enemy. Your heart, your attitude, your approach, your philosophy, your faith means nothing. You are measured by money. And then you have the poor, completely measured by money. Money says you are the poor, therefore this is the plan for you, the poor, and it does not include your uniqueness, your unique gifts, passions, abilities, personality, experiences. Doesn't matter. We make every law for you because we know who you are. Who are you? The poor. You are defined by money, meaning God is your money. That God is called Mammon, the god of money. Marxists are worshippers of Mammon. And they played nice because they make it like we care about the poor. Who is the poor as an identity? It's the one whom you have decided is defined by money, whether the having it or not having it. You define them by money. And if you listen to some people, you will start to think that how much money you have tells us everything about your heart. So if you don't have money, you're a good person. If you have money, you're an evil person. No, whether you're a good or an evil person depends on what's in your heart. You can be rich and evil. You can be poor and evil. You can be rich and good. You can be poor and good. Got nothing to do with it. Who determines what's good and bad, right and wrong, what's working, what's not working? I tell you who it is. It's the author of morality, which is God. However, Marxist parties don't like God because of that. Because they make a new morality that says, if you rich, you evil. If you poor, you good. If you white, you evil. If you black, you good. If you're a man, you evil. If you're a woman, you good. If you're straight, you evil. If you're gay or transgender, you good. See, it's a restructuring of morality, and therefore they don't like people like me who say, no, I know what good and evil is. It's the traditional good and evil I learned from my Christian parents who passed this faith on to me. So I'd love to hear your comments at the bottom, and let's make history together. Share the video. Bring every serious, non-serious, curious Christian you know on your phone. Come on, start going down your WhatsApp. I need this conversation. It's going to help me understand what's really going on here. All right, let's make history together. Cheers.